This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 35 in the NLT. The sword of destruction will strike the Babylonians, says the Lord Yahweh. It will strike the people of Babylon, her officials and wise men too. The sword will strike her wise counselors, and they will become fools. The sword will strike her mightiest warriors, and panic will seize them. The sword will strike her horses and chariots and her allies from other lands, and they will all become like women. The sword will strike her treasures, and they will all be plundered. A drought will strike her water supply, causing it to dry up. And why? Because the land is filled with idols, and their people are madly in love with them. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahat HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied upon all you brethren that's teaching his word in all sincerity and in truth. I'm the brother Dama Gabar, here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, and the sword is upon Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, and the Lord is doing a hell of a number on this place, you know. And one of the major things that we're seeing that you're probably not going to hear a lot of reporting on is the warriors of Babylon. These military men, the Navy, are literally shriveling, man. These servicemen, these military men, they do not want to fight for Donald Trump. They do not want to fight in these wars. They see that America is finished, and the Lord is taking that spirit of patriotism and that spirit of fight out of these American soldiers. You see, and a lot of them are waking up to the bullshit. A lot of them are realizing they're out there fighting illegal wars, and a lot of them are realizing that they're sitting ducks, and they see their madman of a president talking about bringing a ground invasion over there to Iran, which they know they're going to totally be destroyed and sacrificed, man. So the morale of the American military is at an all-time low, to where you're about to start seeing a lot of people going AWOL. You're about to start seeing a lot of people just resigning, and you're going to start seeing a lot of unalivings and a lot of show of lack of morale. All right, and I'm gonna show you this video. All right, I'm gonna play this video. I got another preset, but I'm gonna close it. So this place is through, man. Look at this. Soldiers try to jump ship, literally. And I was reading some of the comments, man, and their comments are going in. But let's check out this video. I'm gonna read some of these comments, and then I'm gonna read this last preset, and I'm gonna get out of here. But Babylon the Great, America is through, bro. All right, and the main thing that gave America its legitimacy and that struck fear in the hearts of all of these different nations for the longest was their military might, which now the world is realizing that might is gone. The American military is a paper tiger. It sounds good on paper, but in action, it's a complete fucking joke, man. And the Lord has this man set up to be ultimately destroyed. So let's check this out.
At the start of the Iran war, the United States had two carrier groups in the region. One of them had multiple difficulties, including the underwear section of the ship catching fire. That's the Gerald Ford, as well as people accidentally flushing socks and T-shirts down the toilets, clogging them up. So the Gerald Ford carrier group had to retreat from our war effort. That left the USS Lincoln, which cost us something like $10 or $20 billion to produce, which cost us, I think, around $8 million a day to operate. I was just doing a little math. That's about $300,000 an hour to keep that thing going. Let's check in on how it's going. Not so well, and put this first element up on the screen. Sailors are trying to jump off the thing as it's been out in the ocean for more than 240 days at this point. Let's roll.
Look at this comment here, right? It says, damn, I once did 150 straight days without a port. 250 is insane. Look at this. I served on a carrier, the Nimitz. People do not flush those things accidentally. And people don't just jump overboard. That's damn near death sentence. I have never heard of morale being that low. What a catastrophic failure of leadership. So look, the problem is these troops know they're not fighting for a noble cause. You can't maintain morale without conviction. You see? What else? Look at this. I am a Navy veteran. When a man overboard drill happens, if you can't see the person within a minute of getting thrown overboard, they are usually gone. Every sailor knows this. Keep that in mind when reading the story. These sailors would rather die than keep working under these conditions. Damn. See? It's a floating prison. Look, socks and underwear don't accidentally get flushed. Those sailors are protesting in the only way available to them. Bring those sailors home. 250 days without a port of call is insane. I'm a former Army NCO, and this is just guts. I think he meant to say nuts. Imagining the sailors and leadership isolated the way they are and trying to hold it together. It ain't World War II, folks. They should be allowed to touch grass. Damn, look at that. Yep, almost a year on the USS genocide would be tough for anyone. This is pathetic. There is no reason for any young person to join the military to serve a country run by criminal parasites that don't care about them. Look, served 24 years during multiple major wars. Never heard of anything like this, ever. The electric incidents with the showers was the worst I have heard of, but overall, we take care of our troops deployed. This is criminal, and the chain of command should be investigated. Look at this. It says, I was deployed on this boat. People are crawling the walls at 2 months without a port. Now they don't have food or soap. You're lucky they aren't reports of unalivings. Yeah, which is coming, you know? And this is why these devils are going to have to force a draft, man. Because a lot of these military service members, they're totally checked out. You see, look, the mighty men of Babylon, man, are weak. There's no morale. They don't want to fight. They want to go home, you know? Babylon is through. Let's go.
Let's roll this first thought.
You guys, there's a mental health crisis happening aboard the USS Lincoln in the Middle East that no one is talking about, and mainly because the Navy's pretty much quashing it. You will read online about food shortages, supply shortages, poor morale among crew members. That's because they've been at sea continuously for 250 days. They've been deployed a total of 271 days, 250 without a port of call. That's unheard of. Normally, they would go to port every 3 to 6 weeks. They have not been to port in 38 weeks. Keep in mind, there are 52 weeks in a year. And yes, the showers are moldy. They're eating basically like a gruel kind of slop at this point. There's no deodorant. There is no toothpaste. My nephew has a friend on board there, and I was basically hearing updates last week when I was in the States in real time. They're not talking about the mental health crisis. 6 people have tried to jump off that ship. The most recent was last Monday. You know, when you have not touched land in 38 weeks, in over 200 days, things start to happen to you mentally. You know, combine that with exhaustion and deadly mistakes start to happen. So, you know, this is how the Department of War, this is how Donald Trump treats our servicemen and women whose lives are already being put in harm's way for a bullshit war of aggression that was supposed to be over in a matter of weeks. We are further putting their lives at risk out of sheer ineptitude and neglect. It defies logic, it defies reason, and it defies basic fucking humanity.
And this is not just a guy saying his nephew talked to his cousin. We can put up this next element. I just think it's E2 from the Military Times. Multiple USS Abraham Lincoln sailors have tried to go overboard amid extended deployment, families say. So this is extraordinarily serious. This is you know, you go back, you read novels or about like 19th century seafaring. Okay, they had it worse than these guys had. Yeah. This is not good.
No.
I mean,
38 weeks.
They're getting resupplied, you know, from shore as quickly as possible from little, you know, shuttle boats going back and forth. But this is getting dark, and this is what the U.S. has to threaten Iran with as it's going into these negotiations, or negotiations that aren't exactly happening, right? Like, if you don't give us what we want in these talks, you know, we're going to, unleash hell on you again, because we have the fearsome USS Lincoln nearby, which we spent billions of dollars to construct, and many billions more, you know, training and recruiting sailors and supplying them. And if you're looking at this, you're like, I'm not so sure this is in fighting force. If, you know, it has already moved significantly out of, you know, close range of Iranian missiles, which undercuts the whole point of having an aircraft carrier group, right? It's like supposed to be mobile and get you close to your targets. Now, if they come under, drone barrages or other cruise missile attacks, you're going to be, the sailors who are in charge of the defense of the ship are not going to be at their peak performance.
Clearly not. So Stars and Stripes, which my recollection is the Department of War has tried to sort of editorially assert dominance over, also reported yesterday that there's this massive meeting between families of people who are deployed on the USS Lincoln and Navy Secretary Hun Cao. In one case, they say from this meeting, a spouse tearfully told officials that she received a message that same day from her husband saying, quote, he hopes he doesn't wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean,
38 weeks in.
Right.
Yeah, bro, them dudes is through. And like he said, you can imagine the mental health issues that's going on there. And then I saw some of these articles, one of these comments said it was already 7 deaths already on board. And I think when they're on these ships, you got like Navy and Marines on there. So, it's all type of fucking, schisms and issues and bullshit going on, man. Them dudes are probably on there losing their fucking minds, man. Yo, that's crazy. Probably all type of anxiety. You know what I mean? The morale is no, but hey, the Lord is definitely doing a number on Babylon the Great. And you see, and this is why there's going to be a civil war here in this country, man. Hey, this is not going to sit over well, and it's just further just going to divide Babylon the Great. It's just going to further just, this place is just ready to be taken. Hey, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is doing a bang up job on Babylon the Great. All right, and this is Jeremiah chapter 51. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 30. It says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They become as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the kings of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. And at that the passages are stopped. The reeds they have burned with fire, and the men were affrighted. You see? And that's ultimately what's going to happen to Babylon. It's just going to be laid waste, man. Like I said, this whole situation with that USS Lincoln is just a further example of how, the military of America is through. These people don't want to fight, especially for this, for Donald Trump and for all of this bullshit. It's going to get to the point to where they're going to try to force a FF, and they're going to try to blame Iran for it, to try to rally up the troops, to try to get the American people to get angry and to get rallied up to go and to fight Iran by dropping doing an FF or dropping some type of nuke here in America and blaming it on Iran. That's the only way they're going to try to rally up the troops and try to get some type of morale for the American people to fight, with good spirits. But at this point, bro, hey, these American people are so through. They're so finished. You dumb them down so much that even something of that nature is not going to rally up these American people, man. These people are through. You dumb them down so much. You lobotomize them. They're all bugged out. They're weird. The men aren't masculine. The women are too masculine. And hey, it's you got nobody but yourself to blame, Esau. You damn jackass, man. But hey, it's beautiful for us because it's all going to lead to prophecy being fulfilled. It's going to lead to what? It says to this 33. It says, for thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. And what's that? Her destruction. And it's going to come via, Russia, China, Iran, these other nuclear capable countries, and even your own allies are going to eventually turn on you and burn this whore with fire, man. Hey, so with that, I'm going to close it there. I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for putting the spirit in me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you are edifying, and a ball will ball.